Before we get going with this episode of the Ski Instructor Podcast, I just wanted to let you know that this episode is brought to you in association with Castley. Alex at Castley has just hooked me up with the FX85 ski, which is going to be my powder ski for this winter. I'm really looking forward to that. It's a sort of old school wood core, no flashy technology, lightweight, ski for skiing off piste. I know 85 is not massively wide underfoot, but that's kind of my preference for an off piste ski. I don't want anything too fat, and it looks like this one's going to be ideal for winter. So if you're considering new skis, give yourself a quick look around their website at castley.com. Hello and welcome to episode 28 of the Ski Instructor Podcast. My name's Dave Burrows and I'm the director and owner of SnowPros Ski School based here in the Valais in Switzerland. Hope you're all well. I'm recording this in early November. The snow line is coming gradually down and down. We've had some amazing snow here over the autumn. I've been skiing a lot on Glacier 3000 in Les Diablerets, which is only about 35-40 minutes away from where I am, which is proving to be quite convenient, and it's actually one of the earliest times that they've managed to open the glacier there since they installed the new cable cars. So that early opening means I've managed to get some good early turns in for my ski season, which is really, really fantastic, and certainly saves quite a long drive to Saas-Fee, which is where I would normally be going at this time of year. Switzerland is just entering a phase as a lot of the other European countries, certainly France, Germany, Austria, they're all doing a bit of a lockdown thing for this second wave of coronavirus. Certainly here in Switzerland, I think it looks like they're going down a slightly different model. You might call it a sort of Sweden model, where they're trying to keep the economy going at the same time as sort of taking precautions and trying to protect the hospitals and the capacity of the hospitals. So we'll see how all of that's going to roll out over the next few months. But I took the opportunity the other day to count up the potential lost business or the lost business that certainly I've had in terms of cancellations this winter, and the number is enormous. And I know that I'm not alone in that sort of loss of work, and I know that there's a lot of ski instructors who aren't even going to make the effort to come out here this winter because they just don't see it, especially those guys who rely especially on tour, really focused on tourism in some of the resorts that are particularly hard to get to and serve a sort of anglophone market. So for those of you who are in that position, I really, really feel for you, especially those of you like myself who have spent many, many years now building a business and building your legacy, trying to support your family and all of that sort of stuff, only to have it snatched away by changing regulations from government. And I'm not sure how much longer a lot of businesses can carry on in this kind of environment, and I hope for your sake that you all are able to do, and that you can come out the other side of all of this. But I think the fatigue is starting to set in for the populace now, and I sincerely hope that all of this, this second wave stuff passes, and we can all just get back to some sort of semblance of a normal life. This week on episode 28, I'm recording. I've got an interview that I've recorded back in September with Richard Fetherston of Snowbility, and Snowbility specifically cater for what they call inclusive snow sports, and that will be for those clients that don't sort of think or learn like the rest of us. You might say they have certain learning disabilities or that sort of thing. Richard works out of a snowdome in the UK, in Hemel Hempstead. That's one of those indoor snow things that the British people do, and I've really, really enjoyed this interview with Richard and discovering what it is that he does. So in this first half we talk a little bit about, there's a bit of random chat about golf. We talk about Richard's background and how he got further into the ski industry, and then about how he started Snowbility. So enjoy this first half, and I'll catch you somewhere. Welcome to the Ski Instructor Podcast. Richard Fetherston from Snowbility. How are you?
Hi, Dave. No, I'm great. Really good. Thank you very much.
Good. So you catch me on a day here in Switzerland. I can see a bit of blue sky, but it's raining for a week. And I just looked at the weather, and it's going to snow on Sunday. So winter is fast approaching here in Switzerland, and I'm very much looking forward to it. Yeah, I've been hot all summer. I don't like being hot. It's not my thing.
Well, that's the nice thing about skiing indoors. We have snow all the time.
Yeah, exactly. And it's cold, right? I imagine if you've got one of those kind of burning hot, British days where no one can really cope with it, you just take yourself into the snow centre, don't you?
It's the way to go. It's -2, -3 all the time. So yeah, it's very refreshing.
It's we had Scott. You must know Scott Plever, but we had Scott.
I do.
Yeah, Scott in here, one of the early episodes, and he said that it's not really like the cold when you're skiing indoors in a dome is really cold because there's no like solar radiation or anything. Like your feet get cold and it's just cold.
Yep. I remember
sunshine.
Actually when I started 10 years ago. I think I had a cold for about 4 months, and then literally after that I could go out there. To be frank, I could go out there in a t-shirt and what have you, and the body just got used to it. So it is amazing how it changes as you go through.
It's clever how the body adapts to these kind of things. Yeah. Too. It's true. In fact, we spent. I think we spent. Was it last summer or the year before? It seems so long ago now. After this flipping COVID thing.
Yes.
We feel like I've been locked in the house for. Well, I suppose I was at one point, but like, it just I don't know. It just feels like it's never ended. I need a vacation. I think is what I need.
That's right. You need to come to an indoor snow centre. Well, get your skills back, and then get back to Switzerland.
Do you know what? I'm furious with this British floating quarantine list thing. I was supposed to be going to play golf with my mates, and I'm on the WhatsApp group with them. We were supposed to be in Portugal, right? And that got cancelled because Portugal went on the list and then went off again.
Yes.
So all my flights and everything got cancelled. I'm just stuck with these flights that I can't use. And so they've all arranged it for the UK because they're all in the UK. And I was going to fly in for it, but of course they put the Switzerland, on the quarantine list for no reason as far as I can see. And so I can't go. But yeah, I'm still seeing them, getting excited about the trip on WhatsApp. I'm just gutted.
So what are you playing off?
I'm playing these days. I don't know. I'm trying to play to 12.
Good.
Which is reasonable. Yeah. It's what I used to play to, and golf's got easier now that I'm older. The technology's moved on, so I kind of hit it further. And I never really had a driver before. I always used to be this. My theory was that if you can see the ball and place it roughly where you want it, you're in the game. Rather than
visualize,
like 50 yards further on, but in some bushes. So,
that's right.
So lately, I've been taking my wife's driver, which is like
I wouldn't put that on the podcast.
Well, no, she doesn't. She minds, but it's got this kind of super bendy shaft. It's some horrible old Callaway thing, 12-degree driver from God knows how long ago. But it really goes. Like when you hit it properly, it really goes. So I'm toying with that at the moment, but it has the potential to kind of get you into a lot of trouble. And
I know. I have to say, I found that I had probably my best ever 9 holes about 2 weeks ago. Yeah. And then I played 3 days later, and I thought I got to the first drive. I was feeling very confident. I'm going to allow for a mishit. so I headed left because I thought it's going to go right. It's going to go right. Yeah. And did it go right? No.
Never does.
Went straight left. Lost ball. First shot. It's so frustrating.
I have to say, it's a question. Actually, it's a more deeper psychological question. This use of driver or not driver. those of, I don't know how many ski instructors listening actually play golf or not, and I don't care. But it's a question of like, do I want to be in the game and kind of, keep my ball roughly right, but, without necessarily the opportunity of scoring, because I'm kind of maybe 50 metres, 30 metres back from where I would be? Or do I go for it, but with the, with the driver, but have sort of, it's a really interesting question of kind of.
But that's
risk
a
perception.
Positive. Well, that's your attitude, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
Is it going to be? Are you going to stand up? The trouble is, you'll probably stand up there and change your mind 3 times on the tee.
Well, yeah.
But at the end of the day, I think you've got to be positive, and you just got to go for it.
Yeah, I think so.
Because if it works, how good are you going to feel?
Well, that and that did happen a couple of times. I think the I've changed my mind with regards, well, not mind, my attitude with regards to golf a little bit in the last few years, and that's to do with kind of caring about it. So now I regard it as just a sort of game to play. If you hit a few nice shots, I don't keep score anymore. Because I think that for me is just like the road to hell, like sort of self-introspection and living inside your own head. So now I view it as, if I hit a few decent shots on a round and hang out with my mates, I'm kind of cool with that, So that's the way that golf's changed for me. I used to find it an incredibly frustrating game when I was younger.
It can be. Oh, yes, that is for sure.
Yeah, for sure. Right, let's talk about you for a bit before we get on to Snowbility, because I'm so excited to talk to you about that. But how did you get into skiing, and how did you end up going more so down the sort of the adaptive route, I guess? So what's your story?
The skiing is probably similar to yours, actually. At the very beginning, I mean, I think when I was like 7 or 8, there was a place I lived down in Kent, and there was an outdoor centre for climbing, canoeing, skiing called Burrows, which is still there, and it was like, get sent away by the parents during the summer holes for 4 days to go and learn to orienteer and climb and ski, and that was it. Dry ski slope. Mm-hmm. It was probably, I don't know, it seemed very long at the time, but it was probably only about 30 feet or 40 feet or something.
Yeah.
And so that was the start, and the next, that sort of led into, you get a notice on the notice board at school saying anybody want to go on a ski trip, and when I was 14 or something.
Oh, cool.
And that's where we went. We ended up in Hoxholden, right. Just above Solden, and it was fantastic. There was there was our party, there was a girls' school from Shropshire, and skiing. So way to go.
Now you're talking. So all the ingredients for a great ski trip there.
Absolutely.
Oh, cool. And then you carried on skiing after that?
Yeah. So really from that it was a few school ski trips, a couple of family ski trips. I mean, I think the main thing about skiing was when we went to a place called Galtor. There was an instructor there called Oscar. Mm-hmm. And I probably did the fastest snowplow in history all the time. I'm not sure I knew what parallel skiing was at the time.
That's all right.
But we got to do a race at the end between everybody and got on the podium on that, and just couldn't be kept off skis really from then on. And then sort of go on for 4 or 5 years. Ended up in the when I left school after A levels, ended up in the city for about 12 months, and I thought, what am I doing? Do I want to be an insurance broker the rest of my life? And that just really wasn't in me. So I got on a plane and went to Australia.
Okay.
And I'd been there for like a couple of months, and I walked past a place called Kosciuszko Ski Centre in Elizabeth Street in central Sydney. Uh-huh. And walked in there, told them what a brilliant, how I'd work for all these ski companies in England, which of course wasn't maybe quite the truth, and they gave me a job. Oh. And it turned out that was an organisation owned by a chap called Kerry Packer, who started the cricket
guy.
And he Kosciuszko Ski Centre had places down in Thredbo and Perisher and Jindabyne. So I ran the hire department there, and had a most amazing 2 years of fun.
Yeah.
learning about skiing.
Wow. Well, at least you got out of the insurance broking game in the city for, quite quickly. I say it took me till I was 30 something to get out of there. But
yeah, I think it was, back at that time, and that was, what was that, 1979, so it's a few years ago.
Yeah.
I think your first 12 months as an insurance broker, you got cancellation slips, which you had to go into the Lloyd's building, talk to the underwriters and ask them to cancel something, and it, to me, wasn't really what I wanted to spend my life doing. So you thought, the best way is, hey, just get on a plane, go somewhere and see what happens, see what turns up. So that's generally been my attitude to life. If you come against the brick wall, going, fine, let's move on, see where we can go, see where life will take you.
It's funny, I rang up. This is a big tangent. It's nothing to do with skiing either. Listen, but I rang up an old friend of mine, a guy who used to sit opposite in brokerage I used to work in for. I don't know. I must sat opposite him at least for 5 years, maybe more than that. A guy called John Mitchell, and I rang him up the other day, and he was it was fun back then, when we were, there was people playing practical jokes on each other.
Yeah.
Kind of, you'd sit there, you'd work kind of when the mood struck you and all that kind of stuff. And he said it's just not like that anymore. Like corporate life is so corporate now. There isn't any of that. I think banter's a terrible word, but there's none of that fun in it anymore that we used to have. I understand it's all gone a bit straight, and that's a shame.
Well, it may have something to do with the lack of alcohol during the day.
Well, yeah, that too. There was a lot of that. That was Well,
that was how it was, though.
Yeah, it's true. I used to try and get all my work done in the morning. So I could have a long busy lunch. And the trick was to time it right. So you'd kind of wait until the boss guy went for his lunch, and then you went 5 minutes after him, and he'd never know when you actually went. So you could kind of really extend out your long busy lunch. The
trouble is, Dave, that's what you thought. I'm sure he knew absolutely where you were.
It's funny though. I think in that environment, as long as you were doing a decent job and putting in the numbers, they just didn't really care what you did. That
is business, isn't it? That's business generation. You've got to put in the numbers.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. And as soon as you stop doing that, then you start coming under a bit more scrutiny.
Yeah.
So you were in Australia, and then where did that lead you?
Well, the family business was actually an international freight business,
right.
And we had offices down there. But I had wanted to spend 2 years not doing that. So, my brother came over, and we sort of travelled around Australia. The fantastic combi van, BIW 849. I can still remember the number plate, which had shag pile carpet, wood panelling, an S-ski with beer in it, and 2 surfboards. We couldn't surf, but it had 2 surfboards in it. And we just travelled the east coast of Australia up to Queensland. And that was an experience and a half. Learned how to dive. All the stuff you just want to do before you.
Yeah. And this was when in the
hear
early
the word
80s.
Career.
In the early 80s was this?
Yeah. Wow. This was 81. Yeah, when. Same year that Australia 2 beat Liberty in the America's Cup, which was biggest sports history event probably ever.
Because Australia must have been quite a raw place at the start of the 80s, I'd say, was it not?
It was very cool. Well, the thing is, it's just attitudes, isn't it? Yeah. It's like that. It was outdoor, not indoor. People met outside. You went for barbecues. You went down to you didn't think anything of just driving at the weekend 6 hours, 7 hours down to Jindabyne and down to the mountains, down to the snowies, and having a day and a half of fun and then driving back.
Yeah.
Try to make it to work for Monday morning.
They've got some weird because the ski areas in Australia, aren't they, in the state of Victoria? Am I right in that?
Yeah, yeah.
So I don't know whether they've got through their ski season before they've gone into this kind of craziness that's going on there right now.
Yeah, I mean, I had videos from my mates just recently who were down there. Yeah, I mean, they've had great snow this last season, you know, with their social distancing and all that sort of stuff. But yeah, they've been having a great time.
Oh, cool. Okay, so from Australia in the 80s, where did that take you?
Well, I suppose the move from there is I went from Australia to Hong Kong and spent a bit of time in Hong Kong because I started working for the family freight business.
Right.
And did that. We had things like we had a little restaurant in Hong Kong called the Stone Crow, which I used to manage, and then we used to import Australian wines and Australian beers. That we were the first people to import it into the UK as well before. You know, the big breweries got involved, imported Vegemite into the UK. So that was all our fault.
Yeah.
And and it sort of went from there. So we did stuff with that. And then I came back to the UK and worked for, you know, did a couple of years then, and then decided I wanted to try and sort of set up my own business. So I set up just a marketing business, you know, as people do. You go, you know, what are you going to do? Try and make some money, try and get a career. So it was a business to business direct marketing business.
Okay.
So so I ended up doing that for probably 14 years.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I'd always had snow sports in the back of my mind, or sports in the back of my mind, you know. Would it be possible to make some money out of sports somewhere?
Yeah, I don't know if that is possible. If you work it out, will you tell me?
That's why I'm the call to ask you.
Yeah, this isn't the business to go in. I don't know, yeah. Well, I don't know. There's probably someone who's worked it out, in which case eventually I'll come across them on one of these podcasts. So.
Yes. Yeah,
and then maybe they can give me the secret. But it's well, especially not when half your season gets shut down. That's even makes it slightly more difficult.
But Dave, as you know, that is an opportunity. You just have to look at it that way. Yeah, you know.
Yeah, that is true, and it's very positive of you. I have, to be fair, I have spent the summer getting quite a lot of stuff done. And actually, it's all going to kind of beautifully come together in the next month or two.
That's good.
Yeah, and actually, do you know what? I was sitting here. I've already got a bunch of scheduling problems, which I wasn't expecting. And I'm looking at the diary now, thinking I have no idea how I'm going to fit all this stuff in, which is pretty good.
That is fantastic. Yeah, considering where everybody is at the moment. But the thing is, unless you've got that attitude to do that, then you know.
Well, do you know what?
It's not going to work.
I don't know how many people have been doing this, but every single year what I do is I ring up all of our old clients, or contact all of our old clients, and I, you know, say to them, how are you doing? You know, like, you know, we give them a chance to kind of get in first before the rush of all the the general public, if you like. I don't know how many other people are taking that kind of care and attention, or whether they just wait for the phone to ring. I'm not sure. But that's, you know, there you go. That's my secret, listener. And if you're not doing that, you should be. Especially in these times, right? You know, I don't think I've ever I haven't put as much effort into kind of selling skiing as I have this year. You know, into selling anything. To be fair, this goes back.
Well,
to the
plus
old
there's
days
different areas. You know, it you know, when you actually have nothing to do for a few months, it does allow you to think about your industry, how it's set up, if there are other areas that you could develop. You know, where's the revenue? You know, from a purely business perspective, you've got to generate revenue somehow. To be able to make sure that you can assist, or you're there to assist all your students, you know, when they do come back.
No, it's true. And actually, do you know what? It has manifested itself how I thought it would, in that people are itching to ski, desperate to like book in and get out and do something in the fresh air. Like they're really, really desperate to do it. And we're not as weirdly locked down as the UK still is, I think. But the you know, there is definitely a pent-up demand there for people to kind of ski, because I think there's a lot of people are still thinking that there's some sort of unfinished business or whatever going on.
Absolutely. Really I think it's going to be. I think when it does open, it's not going to take long for everybody to get back and beyond. But the key thing, I'm sure the key thing with all of this though, is you've got to come out better. When you have a situation like, you've got to come out better than when you went into it.
Yeah,
you just have to.
Yeah. Well, I think like I say, I think a lot of people have had a lot of time to think and reflect on how they could do stuff better, and I would imagine that a lot of businesses are going to become leaner. And they've realised that they didn't maybe need a lot of the superfluous stuff that they've had, in and around their business. Maybe there'll be a lot of cut. You'll find a lot more strong organisations. I'd say ongoing. It's already happening in a corporate sphere, right? A lot of people are now, their reality is going to be working from home probably forever, because a lot of those corporates are realising they don't need all of that office space.
Well, yeah, this has forced the issue, hasn't it?
Yeah,
because because absolutely they don't. Somebody can be just as productive working from home, where they don't have 3 hours and 10 grand a year on sitting on a train.
Oh, it's crazy. They
don't need it.
Yeah. 100%. So I've got a question for you. I just thought of it. What if you were in international freight shipping? I put in a quote the other day for DHL to send this little box of uniforms up to Scotland and back for me. Yeah. It's only 10 kilos. Why are they trying to charge me 600 francs to do that?
That's a very good question.
Why does it cost so much? It's unbelievable.
I think they've seen you coming, Dave.
Oh, is that what it is? I think I just send it by Swiss Post. I think it's going to be...
You do better. You better get on your bike.
It would, wouldn't it?
I know you like bike. Get on your bike and do it yourself, and just all the experience you'll get in doing it. It'd be fantastic.
And this box might get wet, though. But I could actually do a road trip. If they live in quarantine, I could do a London to Geneva to Scotland road trip, couldn't I?
But you could film it, so there's another business opportunity.
Sell it.
Get sponsored.
Here's Dave's boring road trip with just him stopping for coffees. Meet 0 interesting people on the way.
Yeah.
Right. So after this sort of corporate career, you wanted to make a life in skiing sport. So what was your next step then in that direction?
Well, I seem to remember that yours, having listened to your
midlife crisis,
your bit of video, was sitting down with a bit of paper thinking, what do I actually want to do? I remember doing it and sitting down in a coffee shop. Huh? I closed the business down. I thought, this is ridiculous. I don't enjoy doing marketing. Because, the trouble in that area is that people can take it or leave it. You could do the best marketing project ever.
Yeah.
And they'll go, oh, yeah, it's great. Thanks a lot, Rich. We'll see you in 6 months' time. You go, hang on a minute.
Yeah.
That doesn't pay any bills, does it?
No.
And I sat down in a coffee shop and I said to myself, it's not about money. Okay. Definitely not about money. What do you really want to do? And the trouble is, of course, you then get your piece of paper and you write down, I like to make money out of sports. I'd like to be a dive instructor in the summer. I'd like to be a ski instructor. I could be a golf pro. all of these things. And you go, and then you do your finance column. You go, okay, that doesn't work. And but that was my list. It was literally a list of all of those things. Yeah. And, I'd always, again, thought about, I like the idea of coaching or instructing, not teaching as in, doing double maths or something like that. Yeah. But, just trying to inspire somebody and say, hey, it's okay. Whatever your situation, it's fine. It's fine. You can be in a really difficult place, but I can support you to actually get through that. So it was all of that stuff. And that night, my daughter phones me and said, oh, Dad, they've just built a ski centre in Hemel, which is all of about 5 miles away. Yeah. And I'm going, what? Well, so when are they opening that? Well, they're opening it next month. Huh? You're going, you are kidding. My best friend works there, and they'll be wanting ski instructors. And I'm going, I looked at my list, and there it was. Literally, it was that evening. Wow. And the next day I literally got on the old. Are you still there?
Yeah, I'm still there. Sorry.
Yeah. And I got on the old blower to Basie to find out, how to become a ski instructor.
Uh-huh.
The following week, I went up to Tamworth, took my ski instructor at Basie 1.
Yeah.
And that was how it went. And then I turned up and asked Mr. Gillespie at the Snow Centre if I could sort of come and just sort of get involved. And it was literally, just be there, just turn up every day, Rich, turn up every day.
Yeah.
You're not going to get, they've got, all of the guys that they know anyway.
Yeah.
But just keep turning up, keep shadowing.
Yeah.
And then, of course, you turn up and then one of the instructors isn't there. Oh, Rich, just go and take that lesson, and that's how it goes. That's how you gain your experience.
No, it's true.
And,
It's funny I say that to some of the guys out here, because you often see it, or some of the guys, you see posts on Facebook, don't you? People kind of searching for jobs in the Alps via Facebook from their couch.
Yeah.
And it doesn't often work that way out here. Out here it still works, the old ways, which is you've got to be around.
Yes.
And there's probably space, I'd say now, looking at this diary problem that I've got, there's probably a space on my team. I'm waiting for that person to appear. But I reckon I've probably got, there's 100 hours there for someone, but that person needs to be Swiss-based and they need to be around.
Yeah.
I can't sit there and promise someone to come out, but they need to come out and be around. And you never know.
Yeah.
And that happened last year with a couple of our guys. They were around, they came out, did some work, and this year they're on the full-time team.
It's funny, the right people find you.
Yeah, well, I'm hoping that's going to be the case this year, because otherwise...
it always is. Yeah. It is. Honestly, I just believe it.
Yeah.
The right people find you. If you start looking, then you sort of... to me, in my experience, it doesn't work. But the right people find you.
Yeah.
And...
I'd love to be as free and easy
and that's what I did. You got to... And if you want to find out about an industry, you got to be in it.
Yeah.
You can't be on a couch. You just got to be there. Even just hanging around, just the guy that's just hanging around.
Yeah.
Oh God, he's hanging around again. He's hanging around, and then eventually somebody going, "Hey, he's got enthusiasm because he's just hanging around. I'm not paying him. He's hanging around. Hey, can you take that?" And then you go for it.
Yeah, it's true. Well, I'm going to leave it up to the universe, as you've advised me. And I'll be ringing you up in January if I'm really struggling. So, is that where Snowbility was created, or is there like a period where you were working as a regular instructor at the Snow Centre? How did all of this come about?
Just number one, really, just keeping one's eyes open. Mm-hmm. I worked for the team at the Snow Centre for 2 years, and just sort of did everything. And I did whatever I could, took any lessons I could, just trying to figure out what was going on, what snow sports was about. If I could have the qualities of being a good instructor or a good coach. Mm-hmm. And really just developed it in that way. And just keep your eyes open. So I did duty manager stuff at the centre. Just volunteer for everything. That's that's what you got to do.
Yeah.
And then, literally 2 years in, mum and her son came in, and who was severely autistic. Mm-hmm. And I just put my hand up, and the guy said, "Fine, let's just go out." And James, he would look at my boots, was pretty much non-verbal. You look at an initial assessment form, strong behaviour, all that sort of stuff, and you go, "Hey, let's just take him out."
Yeah.
And it was that one session and chatting to his mum about additional needs. After that started Snowbility, with the blessing of Pete and Ian at the centre, to at least had the vision to go, just get on with it. Yeah, let's get on with it and let's see what this is about. But this is, the word you used before, adaptive. We're not an adaptive organisation.
Sorry, using the wrong words. Okay.
No. It's fair, because that is what people say around the world.
Yeah.
And so they talk about that part being adaptive, but it's actually inclusive snow sports, not adaptive snow sports.
I understand.
So that is, our area is inclusive snow sport. So inclusive snow sports basically is different, because it caters for those who don't think or learn like the majority of people. There's some fantastic disability organisations out there, DSUK and stuff.
Yeah.
They are just stunningly amazing at what they do.
Yeah.
But this was an area that I wanted to be involved in, and but inclusive snow sports. Basically the way somebody who has additional needs experiences the world is different, and therefore you have to teach in a different way. You can't. It's not just like come in and this is what you're going to do. We're going to want. It's about them on that day. If the weather's poor outside, potentially their behaviour is going to change.
Yeah.
Inside, compared with the previous day or compared with the day after that. Okay. So it's just about them, and it's about their life skills. It's not about snow sports. We happen to use snow sports as the vehicle, but it's actually their life skills, social interaction, motivation, listening skills, fitness levels, motor skills, all that sort of stuff, concentration levels, and having fun. The electricity that you will have had when you first got on the slope, which is why you're now doing where you've got to, is that electricity you can give to somebody who has additional needs, somebody who has got Down syndrome or diabetes or CP or autistic or acquired brain injury. That's what they want. They want to be the same as everybody. They don't want to be any different. They want to be the same as everybody else.
Yeah.
And our job is just to give them that opportunity and support them absolutely in making that happen.
Now, okay, so we're not talking then necessarily about, in fact, we're not talking at all about people with kind of physical disability. We're talking about essentially the groups that are, so you sit in the niche where you've got students that have got learning difficulties or other things that affect them that stop
mental health challenges.
Yeah.
The unseen.
Yeah.
The unseen. Literally, I could have 100 of my students walking in.
Yeah.
And as a general rule, from a distance, you go mainstream.
Yeah.
But that's not the case.
Yeah.
But it is actually George and Alice and Erin and and Naomi and it's they're individuals. Yeah. And you deal with every single one of them in an individual way.
Yeah, as I suppose you would with kind of anybody else, right?
Yes,
like you're just
absolutely.
What you're trying to do in the back of your mind while that's going on is to make the calculation as to how you should approach it.
Yeah.
Knowing what you know, because someone's diagnosed.
Yeah. On that day.
Certain difficulty.
Yeah, it's just challenge. It's challenges. We all have challenges. Which is fine. And on a day, if you wake up and get out the wrong side of the bed, your mindset may not be as positive as it was the day before.
Yeah.
But for somebody, I remember the first time I ever turned up at the snow centre to do when I knew I was going to be doing a lesson that day. That was the first time. Yeah. And I remember, and it's funny how mental health gets to you, but I remember sitting in the car park for 10 minutes. I was just sitting in the car going, I can't go in there. Everybody's fantastic. They all know how to ski. And I'm going to go and try and teach somebody how to ski. Are you kidding me? It was like, I remember literally.
I think that's one of the other things when you kind of, I suppose this will be for more the less experienced instructors that are listening to this. There is the tendency to slightly over plan your early lessons, to the T. and you're sort of, you're trying to allow for every single eventuality, and when you become more experienced, you sort of just roll with the punches, you flow, and you sort of see where you're much more at ease with seeing where the lesson takes you, rather than in the early days when you're sort of, you're trying to keep everything under quite a tight control.
But this is the thing, isn't it? You do a level 2 where you're trying to teach snowplow.
Yeah.
And the expectation of the family who is watching is that your student is going to do a snowplow by the end of it.
Yeah.
But maybe they're not feeling up to that.
No, maybe they can't.
And it doesn't matter.
No.
But maybe you can do, maybe you can, in our scenario, find out what they're interested in. If they're interested in trains, do trains. If they're interested in aeroplanes, do aeroplanes.
Yeah.
Because it's about them. It's actually not about the family watching. It's about them on the slope in front of you and you being part of their team.
I suppose the thing about the snow centre, though, is you've got that sort of viewing gallery, haven't you? That everyone can kind of watch your lesson. Us in the mountains, we can take our students off, and then sort of without that eye of being watched.
And I think where instructors, I think some of the best lessons to be aware of in those scenarios is you can have the snow centre full. And you think you have disappeared into the sort of ether with your student. And because there's so many people out there, people will not see what you are doing, how you're behaving, whether you're smiling.
Yeah.
Is your student being enthusiastic? You think that you just you're sort of hidden in the trees, but it's not. No. It is open.
Yeah.
It is open. It is as if you are the only person out there. And that is how they, that's such a key lesson, and you've got to be enthusiastic. You can be enthusiastic with your voice, but you need to be more than that. You need to, as you said on your thing, you need your dance moves.
A little bit. It sometimes feels a little bit like you're an actor. Like some days you turn up and you don't, you're not feeling it. But the minute the lesson starts, you sort of switch on. It's very strange that. It's a strange sort of feeling to feel from inside yourself. So, I'm working now. Some day, most of the time it's natural, right? But some days you might just, I don't know, like say, get out of the bed the wrong day, you've got a headache or whatever. And, or, you've been working, 30 days straight or something and you're just not there. So you have to kind of put on a bit of a show. And it's interesting, that one.
But maybe that's what your underlying personality is, a dancer. And it comes out when you get your ski instructor thing on, you can do that. Because all of a sudden you don't have any inhibitions.
No, it's kind of true. I'm with you on that. So tell me so this was the germ of the idea, sort of this sort of day one autistic client. But how did you take that then from there to being a sort of the size of the enterprise that you have now?
I mean, I suppose there's two things. One is that from a business perspective, we started with one student 10 years ago. James was I did one student the first month. I did him like 3 or 4 times, same student. And back in February we had nearly 200 students in the month.
Oh.
So. It's not a niche, to be honest, it's not a niche business, which is what I've always been trying to get across to other ski schools. There are people, you can put a pin in a map and there's 1 in 40 students, mainstream students, has additional needs. So, if you want to market, if you want to try and develop another part of your business, another part of your ski school in Europe, this is it, because it's the additional needs student and their support group and their siblings and their cousins and their social group, so 1 gets 20.
I'm with you on that, and I'd love to, when we're finished with this, I'd love to have a chat with you about it, because I've been looking for I wouldn't say another direction to go in, but I certainly want to do something that isn't, say, regular ski school all the time. Something that is a little bit deeper and And also,
well, this is the thing about inclusive snow sports, you know, and that, you know, people may, you know, they'll go, oh, no, it's adapted. No, it's not. It's inclusive snow sport. It is different. And I have been trying to get it across, but, you know, what we're trying to do is just help one more student. So the growth, in answer to your question, the growth is one student will have some siblings, will go to a school that has other additional needs students. So support everybody, and your one student will turn into 20, and your next student will turn into 20, etc. And so it goes on.
No, we do come across this often. I remember last year we had a week-long session that Gary delivered with a couple of boys who had some quite severe autism, and you know, we eventually got those guys off of the beginner slope and actually up the mountain on the ski lift, which is a miracle really in a week. I'm not sure whether this year they're going to be returning because of this whole Corona thing, but certainly that's a relationship that we built, and we can, you know, we've done it once. So what we really need to do now is see if there's any tie-up that we can make with you know, guys like you.
Oh, absolutely.
And then,
well, the thing is, it's like, you know, I think this thing with business, Dave, you know, and it's about snow sports, but actually it's about business, because unless one has some success, then those businesses are not going to be there. Is get businesses supporting other businesses. Not for anything apart from supporting, you know, being ambassadors for each other and stuff like that. You know, if Pete Gillespie had not said, hey, Rich, just get on with it. You know, if he had not supported me, this would not have happened. You know, and it's, you know, and as such, you know, the basics are it's a revenue stream for the Snow Centre, because obviously I'm doing marketing to try and develop this thing, which then generates students to come in onto the slope. We need to get, for the Snow Centre, we need to get people on the slope because it generates revenue. You know, that is the building blocks. So, you know, one can't be bashful about that. You've got to go, actually, get everybody supporting everybody, then we can all be successful, we can help more people.
Yeah, we talk about this often on the podcast, and it's something that I'm actively, when I go ride motorbikes with Phil, I talk to him a lot about that. You know, it's the sort of concept of collaboration, because it's you know, we're not really all fighting each other. You know, listener, this is an old comment that we've made on lots of times. You know, it's about growing skier numbers in general. You know, getting people up here and doing it, rather than, you know, all us fighting each other, trying to steal clients off of each other. You know, it just doesn't need to be like that. We can get as many people involved as we want. You know,
it does not. It does not. You know, I mean, the other side of our business over here, you know, the growth over 10 years is that, of course, additional needs, disabilities, you know, there are funding related situations.
Yes,
you know, you know, and I think that, you know, the key point there is that somebody who has additional needs or is disabled has a right to access private companies as well as charities. So that will be the underlying message. In that, you know, quite often an additional needs student will come in and go, oh, okay, so what charity are you is going to support you? Well, hang on a minute. No, they have a right to access private organisations. Yes, figure out the funding bit. So you've got that as the underlying thing. They've got a right to do that, to do both, and see where the support is that they need, and then the other side of it is say where funding is needed, then we have to have the ability of getting out there and trying to find funding, wherever that is, which is why we set up the Snow Sports Foundation, who, you know, we're out there, or I'm out there trying to generate funding from any sources I can find, and the Snow Sports Foundation will then support additional needs students or disabled students or SEN schools, you know, special educational needs schools, to try and make these things happen, you know, where they couldn't otherwise have that opportunity.
Okay, I'm going to go off on a slight tangent here, because this concept of funding in general, I kind of like where you almost went with that, was that there's presumably room in these sectors for private enterprise, right? And you're evidence of that because you've obviously got quite a big client base, and presumably they're fee paying, right? Now, this is the bit that suddenly gets me about a lot of aspects of life, because my wife works in the sort of the NGO sector down in Geneva sometimes, and all of those guys, they're all kind of all the time fighting for grants and funding and all this sort of stuff. And I'm kind of thinking, well, there must be a way, if you could make these things profitable, private sector money would pile into them, and would support them in that way. I don't understand why there is within things like, and maybe you could explain to me, because I'm just naive about this subject. So it's not me being difficult, it's just me trying to understand it. But why within, say, the sphere of learning difficulties or adaptive skiing or that sort of thing, why is there such a focus on funding as such over kind of just, I don't know, private enterprise? I don't understand.
Well, I think you've got to try and do, you've got to do all of those things. If somebody, has a foundation with money in it and they feel that they, want to try and support somebody like us, then great. Then we have the people, we have more people than we could probably, even within probably 100 miles of where we are, that we could ever deal with over 10 years. But they need support. First of all, they need positive support that it is possible that they could do this. And then they need positive support because of their financial situations, etc. And being inclusive, that's the other side of being inclusive. If somebody can't afford to do it, or we can't find funding, then what do we do? Because we can't just go, you can't, we're not going to do it. We just have to figure out a way, whatever that is. Talk to a company who might fund an individual, talk to a company who might fund a school. But the structure is that you need to, people are not going to give funding to a private organisation.
Okay.
They're going to they will give it to a charity. You've got to have charity with voluntary trustees, etc., where every penny ends up with a student. That is the underlying, from my perspective. A lot of charities are not set up that way, but that's not how I see the world. So our foundation has voluntary trustees, voluntary treasurer, voluntary marketing people, etc. So if I can go out there and find 10 grand from somebody, I can then give it to the trustees and go, there it is, go and use it in whatever way you feel best. If it's supporting a school, support the school. If it's supporting an individual, support them. If supporting a young carer who's caring for an additional needs sibling, then support them. But the key is we want every pound ending up with a student. Not, that's great, we've got £1 here. Right, 80p of it is going to it's going to go into the organisation to pay for paper clips and stuff. No. That's not how I see how these things should work.
Yes, UN and Geneva-based NGOs, we're looking at you in that respect. The reason I say that is because I'm just outraged by how much of the funding from some of these NGOs that I hear about does not make it to the intended destination.
Yeah, I mean, the other thing actually on it, David, is that if you go to a private investor, so as opposed to a corporate investor of some description, you go to a private investor, as a general rule, they will have something in their terms and conditions and stuff, which will say if your admin fee for your charity is over 5%, which is basically paper clips, and stuff. If they use paper, I don't know. They use paper clips these days.
I've got some.
But if it's over 5%, then you're not getting any funding.
Yeah, and rightly so.
Yeah,
rightly so.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah,
that is how I. Fine. After that, if they then decide, like if the trustees then decide that they've got somebody disabled that needs to go with DSUK, then we will fund that lesson.
Yeah.
With DSUK, not with us.
Yeah.
With DSUK, it's so you've got to give them the appropriate support for their need. The student being top of the pyramid. Everybody else, we're right down the bottom somewhere. But top of the pyramid, the thing right at the top there, top of the Christmas tree, as this is a Christmas podcast, is the student.
So just to let you know about future interviews that we've got coming up in the next month or two. I'm off to Zermatt at the weekend to do a Swiss Snowsports refresher course, which has been a little bit messed around, and the group sizes have changed, and some of the way that they do all of this sort of stuff have been changed by the rules that they've got now, where we're not allowed to have more than 5 people meeting at the same time. So that's going to prove to be a very interesting weekend course, especially since all the restaurants are closed, which is where a lot of the chat gets done over coffees and sandwiches, as you might know. But if I'm there in Zermatt at the weekend, hopefully I'm going to get a chance to chat with a couple of my my next guests, and maybe we can get 2 interviews in the bag over the course of this weekend. So we'll see how it goes. But I'm also speaking to Blair Aitken of British Backcountry tomorrow morning, actually. So I'm very much looking forward to chatting with him, and I've been wanting to speak with Blair for a while about what he's doing in the wilds of Scotland. When the snow is there. I very much hope that you're you're enjoying this chat with Richard. It was clear to me that he's been in business in other areas, and he certainly brings a different perspective, more say business-like perspective to skiing, and I've very much enjoyed chatting with him about this and a couple of other things that we talked about off mic. So in this second half, we're going to talk a little bit more about the teaching approach, how you would teach people who are in this sort of inclusive snow sport sector. We also touch on something called mental health first aid, which is really interesting, which is something I'd never heard about, but certainly something that I've got going on with a number of my friends who are in kind of quite a precarious mental state at the moment, and indeed also and indeed especially I think was something that will become more and more prevalent in these current times. So a bit more chat about working indoors as well with Richard, and then a last minute tangent about sailing. So enjoy the rest of episode 28, and I very much look forward to catching up with you all again on episode 29, which will be with you as soon as I get it done. But let's talk about that then for a little second. In fact, this is a Ski Instructors podcast, so we should probably talk about the actual physical approaches of teaching students with learning difficulties. Now, how do whilst we've already said that each person is individual and should be treated as such, and in the back of your mind you're making a calculation on how best to teach them. But what sort of things do you do with the various types of for example, let's just start with autism, for example. What would be the approach to teaching someone with autism, say?
Well, if you think just generally across additional needs. Yeah, okay. Because additional needs, autism, it actually doesn't matter from my perspective as to what the name is, because it's them. It's them as I say, as Alice or George. Yeah, I understand. Individuals. And teaching them, if you imagine a general rule, I would say across additional needs, it'd be like coming out if you go out onto the snow centre slope. So you'll have music going, you'll have people talking, you'll have the cold.
Yeah.
You've got all of these things. But actually, if you take all of those things and times it by 50.
Yeah.
So where we would hear some music, they would hear it times 50 volume.
Yeah.
If they hear people chatting, they would hear it times 50. So you imagine that, and then trying to do an exam and trying to concentrate on the exam. That's the situation. So it's less. The great Toby Fischel always said to me when he was coaching me, less is more, Richard. Yes, Toby. Yes, of course it is. Yeah. And you're a very, very good skier. But less is more, and that's what it's about. It's just about that moment. The other great thing, of course, with snow sports relates to the temperature. So they're in their own environment because you've got a helmet on. They're in a low temperature, which absolutely, deadens sound. The actual snow deadens sound. Yeah. Which is good. It limits smell. Because of the temperature and what have you, it limits smell, so that is good. So as a sport itself, it's a great environment. And what they don't need is me trying to give them a 1 to 10 of things they need to do within the next minute.
Yeah. Okay.
And they just need space.
So overall, indoors, the sensory sort of overload is slightly less. But there are certain things, obviously you've got people zooming about all over the place, and you've also got... Did the Snow Centre turn down the music when you guys are in there?
We have had it on occasions where that is the case, but normally that's because Race Club have got their mega speakers, Bang & Olufsen speakers going, and we're going, hey, hang on, we've got some additional students here. Yeah. So, but yeah, everybody's supportive, everybody listens, which is great.
Would it help, for example, if those people were to those additional needs students were to wear, say, earplugs, for example?
We do have some that will wear ear defenders,
right?
But as a general rule, you can still have a full snow centre, and actually because of the snow, it deadens that sound down incredibly. Okay. So but and also we have safe areas. If we find somebody finds it difficult, then fine, we can just go, right, let's just go to the safe area. So
then what you're trying to do, I'm trying to think about how I would work my way through this, is that you're probably then, I know bubble's probably quite a popular word these days, but you're probably trying to create that sort of feeling of you and the student being in a bubble, because I'm guessing this isn't a group session, is it? This will be more like a one-to-one session.
Yeah, I mean, our sessions are one-to-one, so even when we have groups, they're still one-to-one. So we'll have, if we've got 5 students from an SEN school, then we'll have 5 instructors on it. Yeah. So I've got 5 one-to-one sessions.
And then the environment that you're trying to set then is just you and the kid, or you and the whoever it is. Yeah. And it's very much kind of you and them concentrating on very, very simple things one at a time.
Yeah, not even, to be honest, Dave, not even simple stuff. I mean, I have one of my guys, Tristan, who has severe cerebral palsy. I mean, he will come in, and when he comes in, you would go, okay, Tristan's got severe cerebral palsy. You can see it. Yeah. It's no, and you go, well, how is he going to ski parallel, and how is he going to pole plant? But he can make. When I know my short turns are not brilliant. Yeah. Probably I'll need my refresher, my IAG refresher. Yeah. But he can do short turns better than I can parallel on the main slope. Okay. And yet when he walks out, you go, how does he do that? And it's amazing. So it's just giving them a chance.
How does he do that?
Just as something. He has that. He just has that X factor, as do all of our students. So it's amazing. Just giving them a chance. You know, never hearing the word no. You know, no. Yes, well, let's do it, but let's do it this way rather than no. Don't do that. Don't run. You know, so you know they're inspirational to us because they can do stuff. I mean, given his situation, would I be able to do what he does? I have no idea. I have no idea. But what I can do is I can give him an opportunity of just being who he wants to be. So that's great.
There's a lot to be said for that, even in teaching. I don't want to say regular people, but like, you know, our clients, right? Everyone is different. Yeah. And I make I don't know. I mean, I'm sure everyone does this, but you make a big thing out of getting to know your client on the lifts and kind of who they are and what they're up to and what they're into, especially for kids, right? What are you into? You know, what's interesting to a 7-year-old these days? I mean, I have no idea, but this is what I'll find out this season, what the coolest thing is. You know, and then you kind of work with it from there. It's there's no reason that should change just because some people have some additional needs, right?
Absolutely. I mean, we have, you know, quite a few of our students are Guinness World Record holders.
Really?
Yeah.
For what?
Because for skiing. Yes. I thought that was surprising.
Go on, tell me more.
Yeah, we did like 5 years ago. We set a Guinness World Record for the most amount of miles skied on an indoor ski slope in 12 hours. Wow. We started at 8 in the morning.
Yeah.
And finished at 8 in the evening. And we had something like 200 people involved in it.
Yeah.
And, you know, we had a lot of students, severe autistic students, what have you, just anybody from any of our schools.
Yeah.
And we ended up 2 miles short of Switzerland, which is so annoying.
Yeah.
That is like so annoying that we just didn't know.
You skied just to the outskirts of the Jura. I'm with you.
You're getting 2 miles.
Amazing.
God, if we'd had like another 3 people on there, you know, we could have got the 2 miles. But anyway, so Guinness World Record holders.
That's amazing.
Yes, it was fun. It was fun. The trouble is, embarrassing moments. We had Sir Mike Penning, who was Minister of Disabilities at the time. He started us off.
Right.
So of course, as is the way they go. Rich, you go first. You go first. You go. Okay. Here we go. So I come down, scream down the slope. I go. You know, I don't know what has got into me.
Yeah.
Come round the corner at the bottom net. And there's a smaller net, which I hadn't seen. So one ski goes one side, the other ski goes the other side. I end up flat on my face. This is the first run.
This is you providing a perfect demonstration of what you were looking for that day.
Yeah, and of course the thing was that Guinness, to actually set it up, you had to have, you know, you've got to film it all and stuff.
Yeah. And
if you fall at any stage throughout any of your runs, it doesn't count.
No.
So it didn't count. So let's get up and do it again.
Oh, amazing.
Hundreds of times. It was fun.
Going back to the sessions themselves, you limit yours to 1 hour. That's the sort of natural time limit for a session like that.
Well, no, it doesn't have to be. But yes, that is a lot. You know, it's a lot because it's as much mental as physical.
Yeah.
So mental exercise as physical exercise.
Yeah.
And, you know, if a session, you know, again, another good thing for instructors, you know, if after 40 minutes they've had enough, then that's fine.
Yeah.
You know, you just got to go. Or if they, you know, if they find something difficult, again, that's fine. You just got to go, hey, that's fine. Yeah, well, we'll sit there. Let's just sit down the slope and see what we can see. Yeah, you know, let's look at the mountains. Oh, look, there's a snowboard, or there's somebody wearing a pink jacket, or whatever it is.
Yeah. It's true. There is that element of it. I've mentioned it, I think, before, but I think you'd be surprised how many people try and offload their 3, 4, and 5-year-olds on us for more than 1 hour. I'm just like, well, you know, I can give you a number of a babysitter if you'd like that, but you know, we're here to teach skiing, and really your 3, 4, and 5-year-old is not, well, certainly 3 and 4 is not really capable of much more than an hour of learning how to ski. It's it's just how it is, you know. It's and I don't think you can force additional learning onto people in that way.
No, because it's like, it's, you know, this is, again, as we said earlier, it's not double math. This is a physical, mental exercise. You know, they could be the next, you know, Olympic champion. I mean, who knows?
Yeah.
But, you know, even Olympic champions, when they start, they probably only start doing 5 minutes when they're a little youngster, and then do maybe 10 minutes, and then maybe, you know, and keeping the enthusiasm, not making it a lesson.
Yes.
You know, enthusiasm 100%, electricity 100%. Not we're not doing a ski lesson. We're just going to have, because the rest of it comes anyway.
Yeah, I'm with you. Where do you draw your instructors from? Are they specialists in this area? Are they specially trained? How have you put your team together? Because it was Kathy that put us in touch. You very kindly.
It was, yeah,
me.
wonderful.
So hello, Kathy, if you're there.
Yeah, wonderful, Kathy. Yeah.
But how do you know? You said that people come to you eventually, but you must have within your team. You must have a sort of special training program, I'm guessing, and you must pick these people for their abilities.
Yeah, the universe.
I like this idea, but I'm sure it's not as simple as that.
I think it is, actually. I think it's quite simple. I think, you know, if you're out on the slope, I mean, what you know anyway, because I can hear it in your voice and then just looking at your website and stuff, the enthusiasm you give, the positivity you give, people will see that, and that is a magnet. That's a magnet for other people. So, you know, every time I'm out there, it's like a sales pitch for other instructors.
Yeah.
Every time I'm just doing my one-to-one with a student, you know, because people see what's going on. They see whether you're being enthusiastic or being miserable or whatever it is. Yeah. You know, and, you know, I think, to my mind, that positivity generates magnetism for the right people. And the right people then find you, and the right people come and have a chat and go, you know, or right people want some support maybe on their lesson. It doesn't matter. If there's a snow centre lesson, there might be somebody additional needs on the snow centre lesson. Fine, that's great. You know, because we want to help everybody. You know, so, and if they need some, this is the situation I find, I'm not going to go, ooh, no, I can't tell you, because I've got the experience you haven't. Yeah. You should be giving out that experience, and that's how it works. And, you know, a lot of people have touched additional needs through their life, through their friends, through their family, whatever. And therefore a lot of instructors listening to this will know somebody that knows somebody, or be one-to-one with somebody who has additional needs, or just, you know, mental health challenges. We've all got mental health challenges, you know, more so maybe this year than most, but we still, you know, and it's how you deal with that. So in answer to your question, that is number one, just got to believe. Number two is when they do come, then you've got to look at training, but they've got their skiing stuff, they got their snow sport stuff, they got their electricity and enthusiasm for snow and everything it can give, and they see what it can give to them, and they want to give that across to other people. But things like mental health first aid training is a must. You know, every instructor listening to this should book themselves on a mental health first aid training course. You know, because you'll then touch information on suicide. You know, and suicide is not just for people over a certain age. You know, it could be somebody who's 7. You know, and you might have that conversation on the slope. So what do you do? Do you shut it down? Or, you know, how do you do your first aid? You know, we're not there to answer to be able to do it, but you've got to do your mental health first aid, you know, and it will be, so stuff like that, because it just gives you something else. It gives you another tool that you can use given a situation, whatever that situation might be. And it might be not with the student, it might be with the parents. And you go, have you had a good week? and all of a sudden you find out they haven't had a good week for whatever reason. So you need to be able to cope with it.
Yeah. I hear that.
So, that and experience, which you can gain. You don't have to have the experience to be able to do it, but you can gain experience and ask questions. And, anybody, even on this podcast, anybody ever wants to, just shoot an email to us, or come in and just come and see what's going on, or come and get a bit of info, or anything.
I genuinely never heard of mental health first aid before. That's interesting. I shall research that when we're finished.
Really? Really. It's, it just makes you just think a little bit about the people, about yourself as an individual, and about people around you that you come in contact with.
It's quite an interesting topic, isn't it? It's interesting how to the forefront things like mental health have become in the last few years. When, I guess then it would have been completely neglected for the last 100, right? There's not many people thinking about this while all those guys were going off to war in World War II or whatever. It's interesting.
Yeah,
really, really.
But I think I think the right people will have done it, and maybe it is, as with some things, it's an embarrassment factor of not wanting to start a discussion in it.
Yeah.
Well, I better not, because that makes you stand out from maybe the people around you, and you think it makes you stand out negatively, but actually it's quite the opposite. It makes you stand out positively because you've seen something, or you're not feeling in a certain way, or somebody's not feeling in a certain way, and you can then go, actually, it's fine. It's fine. It's fine to feel like that. Yeah, absolutely, it's fine.
It's funny, I've had a friend of mine go through a difficult patch recently, and I'd never really seen that before, with, in fact, 2 or 3 of them. And it's interesting. He's kind of just come out the other side of it now. I think his life's better, or looking up. But it's
good
in a really dark place for a long time,
Yeah, it's tough. It is tough. It's tough. It's tough to even get to the stage when anybody else even knows.
Yeah,
that maybe something's happening.
To be fair to him, he was very good about kind of, I wouldn't say talking about it, but he's kind of talked his way through it, I'd say. It wouldn't it wouldn't necessarily be my way of doing it, but it's I have a notepad by the side of my bed which serves as the repository for all of my deepest, darkest thoughts, and I found that a very extremely useful process, actually.
I must hit that drive straight next time.
There's no golf bits on it, but there is some kind of very odd thoughts that go down, like things that keep you up in the middle of the night, those things. And
that's because 2:00 in the morning is the most negative time you have in the whole day.
Is it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I see it often.
That's what I think.
That's
what I think. You go 2:00 and go, I haven't done this and I haven't done that.
Yeah.
What if I can't do that? Or what if I can't help that person? Or what if you go?
Yeah.
It's the most negative time. And by the time you get to the morning, you go, fine, come on.
Yeah.
Take on the world.
Yeah. I hear you. Tell me about working indoors. We touched on the coldness a little bit. I know that the centre has just only recently reopened, really. This is the Snow Centre in Hemel Hempstead.
Yeah.
You've only recently really reopened because you're allowed to ski again. What does indoor skiing in the age of COVID paranoia look like these days?
I think it looks fantastic.
Okay, at least you get to do it, right? But presumably there are certain rules and bits and pieces in place.
Oh, absolutely. I have to say, given their due, I think their setup is brilliant. And brilliant in many ways. Number one, because of my students. It's fantastic for my students.
Yeah.
In that, they have set capacity. You've got one way in, one way out. So there's a whole new learning activity for my students.
Yeah.
Because if you imagine getting out of your car, making sure you get out of your car, getting out of your car, having your kit on now, because obviously there's no clothing and stuff.
Yeah.
Coming in, going through the process to come in, going up the stairs, new way of getting into the rental area.
Yeah.
You get your helmet, skis and boots and stuff. Getting out onto the snow, all of that whole process, that journey, overused phrase, that journey of getting from your cart onto your skis on the slope for an additional needs student is 20 steps.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It's like, because you've got to break it down. It's not just going in, getting your kit on, going on the slope, 2 steps. Every single bit of that, coming to the stairs, seeing that there's new signage on the stairs, that is an experience in itself.
Well, I was just going to ask you about that. So what happened, do your students, because some of them are, it would be fair to say, don't like change very much, like a lot of us. I put my hand up on that camp too. But what if they get given a different pair of skis from the ones that they had or previously or been used to, or boots, maybe the same thing, does that affect anything, or do you always have the same stuff? Yeah, I mean, if we take it as part of the session, part of learning about the kit, right? Part of how the boot fits into the ski, the part of, oh look, I found you a pair of race skis, 117 race skis. These are going to be so fast today for you. Yeah. So the fun has got to not just be on the slope. The fun has got to be as soon as they see you, because they are some of the funniest kids and adults. This is not just somebody this is anybody from 3, 4, 5 years upwards to 85 years upwards. You can't be autistic and then take a tablet when you're 50 and you're not autistic. Yeah, it doesn't work like that. But you just want support. That's all. Just have positivity around you. So the process of literally getting out of your car and coming through, you've got each of those little things which you can then use as part of your lesson. Yeah. So it's not just, the lesson doesn't start just when you've got to the top of the chairlift and you're starting to go, right, this is now what we're going to do. You've got all of that other stuff you could use, all the sensory stuff you could use, all the geographic stuff you could use sitting on the lift, talking about the mountains and what they're called and why they might be called something, or, what the snow conditions might be like today. You've got, you can make up a whole, so you could charge more because you're giving them a lesson about all the geography stuff around you. Yeah. As well as the skiing. As your new business opportunity. Do you in terms of the practicalities at the moment of skiing indoors, are you having to wear like a buff or a mask or something all the time, or is it how's that working? Yeah, so for all the instructors, they're all wearing buffs or masks, right? All the time from the time we get into the centre itself. As a general rule, adults who come in will probably be wearing them. Kids don't have to, but they can wear them, and what we do, again, we want to make that the stuff about hands, stuff about masks, stuff about wiping down your locker before you put your stuff away and wiping it down when you're then going to take it, because there's stuff out there. Again, you make it just part of your session. And then we go out on the slope, and on the slope at the moment, I think there's something like 75, normally, 200, so there's 75 out there, with a lot of netting so that you can go, but it's good because then again they're having to just use that whole thing as part of their learning experience to push their boundaries. So because it is change, you want to positively use change. Yeah. If it's a negative, if you think of a negative change, because they, in a percentage they don't like change, then you want to not have, you will need to use it from a positive perspective. No, I'm with you. Let me touch, lastly, I've got 2 more things for you, but we're about to go, I think it's fair to say, I can see it, I don't know whether anyone else can, but I think we're about to go into difficult economic times. How is that going to affect the funding that you guys seek in terms of, I don't know, bursaries or
Yep.
the funding for your program that allows some of these guys to ski. Presumably, companies are going to be cutting back on some of their luxury spending, if you like.
I think in answer to the question, the funding's still there. So funding doesn't go away. It's how that funding is used, because of course you're not going to be able to fund a student if they can't come into the centre and come and do a lesson, or get a group of 5 from a school to be able to come in and do a lesson. But that is the, dare I say it, the COVID opportunity. It's how you do run your business, how you look at opportunities for it. And I mean, our last 3 months have been developing a thing called Classroom Ski Academy, where we do snow sports coaching at the schools over the internet. And people like funders are going, fine, you can't bring them in. What are you going to do? How are you going to use my funding? Are you going to be able to come up with something?
Okay.
So that's what we have done. We've set up a whole new business, which is giving, we did a film shoot a couple of weeks ago where we're doing exercises and stuff on the slope, and activities and stuff on the slope, which are then going to be shown to our students next week at the schools, and they're going to do those in the classroom or out in the playground.
Okay.
It's an exciting opportunity. It's a whole new thing. It's a whole new business area of inclusive snow sports that has not been, to my mind, has not been done before, but is only happening because of all of the challenges of the last 6 months.
Yeah.
Otherwise, we wouldn't have thought about it. And this is like, for the future, for funders, they want something positive for the students. So you've got to have a story, and you've got to be able to prove it, that if they give you $5,000, that is going to be used incredibly well.
Yeah.
And it's going to be worth them giving you $100,000. It's a figure.
Yeah.
And of course, what you have to have is you've got to have a Yeti sticker book, because each of our sessions has a different Yeti colour.
Okay.
And they have their sticker book. And if they want to get the rainbow sticker, they better have done the first 10 sessions.
Oh, yeah.
So that's our new branding that we've been working on as well.
Yetis is a good one. We run one of our students invented it. So it's based on the sort of martial arts belt system.
Yeah.
So all of our guys have different coloured buffs according to the level that they ski at.
Yeah.
And it's gone down really well, actually. We rolled that out, I think, last year or so, because I don't know, I just couldn't. I wanted something that was a bit more fun than the sort of traditional Basie badges and all that sort of stuff. It just wasn't.
But that's what they want. They just want fun.
Yeah.
That key word. If you can make this fun for somebody, they'll want to keep coming back, and they will learn lots of stuff. They'll learn life skills. They'll learn all sorts of things, and they'll have and then when they have a bad day, it's not so bad because the previous week they've been skiing, and they'll remember that bit.
Yes.
Yes.
That's right. Here's my last question then. What happened? So you had your list, like I had my list, and skiing or snow sports was on it. What happened to the golf and the scuba bit? I want to get my handicap into single figures. Good for you. Tough game at single figures, though.
Yeah, well, I don't know. I started. Well, I mean, I played golf since I was a youngster, but like once a year.
Yeah. So
because of lockdown, so that's come down from like 22 to 15.
Okay.
And I can see how I could get it to single figures, but we'll see. You've got to be motivated to do that.
Yeah. You've got to play. I think the thing is, the guys who play in single figures, they play all the time.
Yes.
And I just don't have time to do that. I play just for pleasure, really, and just as an opportunity to get out and about with Mrs. Burrows. But I like those sort of showy lob shots that sometimes come off, because if they come off, you go, I am
I'm God at this. But the trouble is, the other 5 times,
yeah,
they don't come off.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, and then, you know, stuff like if we go away in the summer or something, yeah, it'd be great to put a tank on and do that.
Yeah.
Or a few years ago, we raced across the Atlantic, so that was fun.
Oh, cool. You do a bit of sailing?
Sorry?
You do a bit of sailing?
Yeah, when I can. Yeah, well, the key is have friends who have boats.
Well, that's the key. You don't want the boat yourself.
No.
That is a bigger money pit than running a ski school. That's for sure.
Yeah. No, we did the arc across from Gran Canaria to St Lucia.
Oh wow,
that was an experience.
Yeah, when that first moment when you go completely out of sight of any land.
Oh,
then you're like, whoa.
Well, it was the moment we had sort of about 2/3 of the way across.
Yeah.
And nobody turned the radar on. It was getting a little bit windy.
Oh.
And then Graham, our skipper, there was only 4 of us on a 32-footer.
Okay.
And he turned the radar on, and the whole radar screen was red. Ooh. And we're going, oh my goodness, this is going to be interesting.
Yeah.
So that.
Go on.
No,
what happened?
Yeah, so definitely, well, it did. It blew. It was a bit wild. But then again, 3 days later on, we got completely flat calm. So we did we had the Atlantic Swimming Club, which was quite interesting. When you're swimming around the boat and you look down, you see these shards of beautiful sunlight going into deep black, and you go, I'm not sure. I think we might need to get back on the boat.
Yeah, miles and miles straight down. My sailing career ended. So, a good friend of mine, Chico, his old man had a boat. We did a lot of sailing down the Solent and up on the west coast of Scotland. But we were doing the round the island race, and we hit the bottom somehow, just off the needles. And I'm just like, oh, that's quite a freaky feeling on a boat. And then we did the same thing. We hit this. There's a sort of I don't know what you call it, like a pinnacle or something. Yeah. It comes up somewhere on the west coast of Scotland, in literally miles of ocean, and we managed to hit it. And I sort of looked one way off the side of the boat, and looked the other way off the other side of the boat. And it's like 2 miles each side. And I was like, this boat sinks now. This could be a very cold and horrible swim to the shore. And I'm just like, and that kind of sort of put me off a little bit. But I've lately been getting out on so here on Lake Geneva. I've been taking my daughter down to Montreux, and for about 50 francs you can just hire a little motorboat without a permit. Yeah. And you can go out and look at the castle on the lake and stuff like that. And that's enough for me now. Like a little, not very fast motorboat just pootling about on the flat, calm lake.
On the water.
Yeah, exactly. Tell me where if people need to or would like to get in touch with you, where can they get in touch with you?
Literally just put a note on Snowbility. Yeah. On our Facebook or anything. Anything. Just if they've got any interest at all, or they think, hey, that'd be good to sort of know a bit more about, or they just want to be an ambassador and just go. I think of all the English ski schools in Europe. As to how many additional needs students might be coming out anyway, who we could do some stuff with, so when they come out, and vice versa. So just, partnering, getting everybody partnering together. Yeah, it's a great idea.
Well, I think off mic we should have a chat about this because that's something that I'd love to get involved in from our ski school's perspective, and so let's have that chat.
Yeah, brilliant. like going into deep black.
Nothing.
And you go, I'm not sure. Going, I think we might need to get back on the boat.
Yeah, miles and miles straight down. My sailing career ended. So, a good friend of mine, Chico, his old man had a boat. We did a lot of sailing down the Solent and up on the west coast of Scotland. But we were doing around the island race, and we hit the bottom somehow, just off the needles. And I'm just like, that's quite a freaky feeling on a boat. And then we did the same thing. We hit this. There's a sort of I don't know what you call it, like a pinnacle or something. Yeah. It comes up somewhere on the west coast of Scotland, in literally miles of ocean, and we managed to hit it. And I sort of looked one way off the side of the boat, and looked the other way off the other side of the boat. And it's like 2 miles each side. And I was like, if this boat sinks now, this could be a very cold and horrible swim to the shore. And I'm just like, and that kind of sort of put me off a little bit. But I've lately been getting out on so here on Lake Geneva. I've been taking my daughter down to Montreux, and for about 50 francs you can just hire a little motorboat without a permit. Yeah. And you can go out and look at the castle on the lake and stuff like that. And that's enough for me now, like a little, not very fast motorboat just pootling about on the flat, calm lake.
On the water.
Yeah, exactly. Tell me where, if people need to or would like to get in touch with you, where can they get in touch with you?
Literally, I can just put a note on Snowbility. Yeah. On our Facebook or anything. Anything. Just if they've got any interest at all, or they think, hey, that'd be good to sort of know a bit more about, or they just want to be an ambassador and just go. I think of all the English ski schools in Europe. As to how many additional needs students might be coming out anyway, who we could do some stuff with, so when they come out, and vice versa. So just, partnering, getting everybody partnering together. Yeah, it's a great idea.
Well, I think off mic we should have a chat about this because that's something that I'd love to get involved in from our ski school's perspective, and so let's have that chat.
Yeah, brilliant.